Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Manchester stand. It's 10:30, therefore you've got to listen to me for a few minutes. Do apologise for that, but it's a price you pay for having such fun. We want to talk a bit about housing today. It's a dynamic and central part of our agenda. We talk about the heart of the city, and the heart of a city is its people, and a key element in a sustainable city is having places where people can and want to live. Now, we've seen over the presentations that you've seen in the last couple of days, the huge resurgence in delivery in the conurbation core. We looked at Noma, we looked at New Bailey, looked at the inspirational designs for St John's, and the huge appetite that there now is in developing PRS and other tenures in the city centre is real encouragement, and it's a real return to the kind of delivery that we know that we need. We know that we've got challenges to face. I had an interesting discussion yesterday morning over the way in which planning and building regs needs to catch up with PRS, and I think there's an interesting dialogue for us to have there. But the city centre growth is hugely encouraging, and we recognise that private rented is going to be an essential and very substantial part of the delivery of new housing, particularly in that market. But we need to drive delivery outside the conurbation core as well if we're to meet the challenge that we believe we face in respect of housing supply. Many of you may have received our copious consultation document on the Greater Manchester Strategic Framework evidence base, which says that we need to build at least 11,000 homes a year over the next 20 years. And most of you from the development community who responded, surprisingly, you said, you're having a laugh, you need to build more than that, you're not being ambitious enough. Interestingly enough, the Campaign for Rural England said, that's far too many. But there you go, there's no surprises there. But we know that we face a huge challenge, and we have to try and find a way of driving up our delivery and improving and increasing the way in which we can bring together assets and development appetite to drive us forward. It was interesting that during the course of the consultation on the evidence base for the spatial framework, the devolution deal was announced. And I think a number of people probably rewrote their responses during the last week to say, if that's where your ambition is, this needs to up its game. And I think that's where we know that we are, and we're really taking that seriously on board. Deborah McLaughlin will talk through in a moment about Manchester Place, a key initiative by the city to push forward high-quality housing at scale across the city. But we need to do more. And the Devo deal recognises that, and many of you will have seen with interest the reference to the creation of a Greater Manchester Housing Investment Fund of £300 million as part of the devolution deal. And it's hugely important for us that we make that work. And just to say a little bit about how we believe that can work. We want to take that 300 million, we want to work it, we want to recycle it, we want to leverage it, and we believe that over a 10-year period, it's not unreasonable for us to expect to turn that into an investment capability of around £1.5 billion. That's hugely important to us. It's hugely important to enable us to support those development partners who are still struggling for access to cash. I know that for many of you, particularly the larger partners, access to money is the least of your problems. It's about viability. So the fund also creates the potential for us from the public sector to take a different view on risk about how we can go into co-investment models with you to help unlock those unviable sites and make them viable and enable you therefore to invest. Because the reason that we went for the fund in the way that we did is a recognition that many of the national programmes that colleagues in organisations such as the HCA are promoting simply don't address the market failure that exists in post-industrial Northern England. And that's why we felt we needed a fund that we could direct and control, that we could direct in order to enable us to bring forward sequential development, to take a long-term view over infrastructure investment, to really start to make inroads into those abundant sites that we know are eminently commercially viable if we can get over that initial gap. So the fund creates the potential for us to co-invest, and it also creates the potential for us to maximise on other assets. One of the other things which we are doing is working through the One Public Estate programme to try and bring together a much greater expanse of the public sector ownership within Greater Manchester. And a key element of the work that we were doing around health and social care, and you'll see the announcements about that recently as part of the Devo deal, will be to liberate the NHS estate and to enable us to bring that in a constructive and coherent way into the marketplace. So we're seeking to up the supply of land. The spatial framework will up the supply of land through a longer-term review of land holdings, and we need to build our capability for delivery. And a key part of that capability is Manchester Place. I'll hand over to Deborah. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Eamonn, and good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Manchester Place is it's a new initiative, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're going to do business, how we're going to use the fund, and how we're going to work with partners to increase the rate of residential development in the city. And, you know, many of you have heard over the last few days about all the developments that are happening. It's hugely exciting, very positive, lots of opportunities, all of which strengthen our international status, our economy, and enhance our offer to residents. Manchester is a great city to live in. It's recognised as one of the most livable cities in the world, ahead of London, New York, Milan and Singapore. And Manchester was the only city to feature in the New York Times Places to Visit in 2015, with great attractions like Home and the rejuvenated Whitworth Art Gallery, enhancing our rich culture. So some of the images are just saying what a really great livable place Manchester is to be. It's got a growing population, as you've heard about over the last number of days, a fifth up in a single decade. And that growth is fueled by a strong economy, well-connected public transport, and improvements in health, education. And images such as these show us the speed at which things are developing. The trams, City Lab, the Etihad campus and Victoria Station all give us that sense of confidence that this is a great place to want to live. Over 100,000 new jobs are forecast in the city region, and housing demand is intense. Manchester's pledged to build 55,000 new homes in the city, and that is 3 times the rate of development in recent years, and that is quite a challenge. So we need to build on our experience with development, working with private sector partners, working with local authorities, and working with central government and HCA. And this slide's just showing a couple of schemes that Get Britain Building, which was an investment fund made available by central government, which accelerated the development of a number of schemes. And we see Nuovo, or Sarah Point, as it was originally known as, Islington Wharf, Smithfields, and The Point. So we are absolutely serious about extending our residential offer. And so Manchester Place has been created. It is a collaboration between national and local government, and it's a partnership with the city. Our brief is very, very clear. It's working together to support the private sector to build, invest and provide more housing in Manchester. We quite simply will create platforms for investment and create quality places where people choose to live. And we'll do this by a number of ways. Manchester Place will work with the community, work with landowners, developers to unlock sites for development. So teasing out what are the problems, why are sites not coming forward. We will assemble a series of investment-ready propositions which we will present to the market over the next 12 months. And we'll harness the potential of the public sector funding streams. So as Eamonn spoke before, not all schemes are viable yet, but we will work with you to find ways to bring schemes forward to market. And importantly, we will support the long-term sustainability of communities. Not just because that's the right thing to do, of course it is, but also it will protect your investment and make sure that we're creating places that have a long-term, high-quality sustainability. We've already started identifying sites across the city that are near to market. So Manchester Place team has been working very hard with landowners and with developers, identifying anything that is near to market that we can accelerate its growth. And we're looking at the capacity of public sector land to identify potential for early development, and also to our housing association partners to see if they can accelerate market rented products. And house builders, what will it take for house builders to step up production across the city? So a series of conversations looking at all sectors to increase the development. And we're working with the council officers in particular to, where necessary, identify appropriate development frameworks to give clear messages to the market about our expectations of places and to provide you with enough information to know where the investment opportunities will be. Importantly, and Eamonn talked about institutional PRS, we've been talking to investors. There appears to be a lot of money and investors around, but what we really need to do is better understand exactly the opportunities that investors are looking for and present to them a prospectus for an investment opportunity that they're willing to invest, and actually turn this interest into some very, very firm propositions. And this isn't just ambition, we've started already, and today's slide here shows you two of the first institutional investor schemes in Manchester, and indeed they're actually the first national build-to-rent schemes that HCA funded. So this is a Cambridge Street scheme on the right, the first build-to-rent high-rise building. This is the CGI of what it looked like when it's complete. And these are the 3 towers in Ancoats that you may be familiar with. They're currently been refurbished and they're offering a very high-quality product. So they're the first 2 nationally. These will be complete in May and ready for occupation. Eamonn mentioned under the devolution agenda the £300 million pot, and that will help us kickstart propositions where people are struggling to get access to development finance. And experience has shown us that often it's the SME type builders that are struggling to get finance, and we can support them using our fund. We're working hard at the moment again to identify what those schemes are and start bringing propositions to our credit committee to allow us to invest in them. The fund will go live in April, and we'll be launching the investment prospectus shortly. And our team will work with you to create a viable proposition to take to credit committee to encourage investment in that particular scheme. So it's a £300 million recovery investment. Over time, when the mayor comes into place in 2017, it'll be controlled by the new mayor. It is recoverable, it's not grant. And we'll use it either as loan or long-term equity. It's available to Manchester as 10 years, so we're expecting that we'll be able to recycle it a number of times, and as Eamonn suggested, that hopefully will give us a £1.5 billion fund with leveraged private sector funding, and the receipts will continue to be recycled back. Our commitment to government is that for that amount of money, we will support the delivery of between 10 and 15,000 additional new homes. But, you know, we're not starting from the very beginning. We've already got some successes under our belt at Manchester Place. And we've already started delivering quality homes in vibrant neighbourhoods on the edge of the city centre. And this is Ancoats and New Islington. And many of you will know we already have our first significant investor, Manchester Life. And Manchester Life is playing its part in creating vibrant, well-managed places where people choose to live. It's meeting its aims of attracting and retaining economically active tenants who see renting as a positive lifestyle choice. And Ancoats was chosen by Manchester Life because of the investment that had already been made in the public realm, as we can see, the primary care centre, the park, the marina, and the beautiful Cutting Room Square. So the platform for investment was already created by the public sector to encourage investment into the area. At Manchester Life, Phase 1 now is up and running. 950 new homes over 6 sites. 150 will be for sale. And Manchester Life will target owner occupation as well as rent. 800 homes will be purpose-built for rent. And the first schemes have actually been submitted for planning next month. So great progress has already been made. And that's the CGI of the Murray's Mill scheme, which will be going to planning shortly. And that's just one opportunity in Manchester. The city's fastest growing workforce have expanded, and PRS is a really attractive offer to many of the young and new communities that are coming into Manchester. We have young, vocal customers who expect high quality design and well-managed housing close to where they work. With rental levels high at the moment, there's a significant demand, and the PRS will be part of the solution. And what's important to us is that is a really good quality offer. We've had lots of discussions over the last couple of days about what is the optimum position in terms of quality, both internally within the PRS, but also externally and in place, and the urban environment around our PRS product. So quality needs to be at the heart of our development to ensure it's sustainable over time. And Manchester Place will be looking to create a residential area design framework to assist us in making sure that we really get a good quality product. We recognise the importance of large-scale development, and there are a number of opportunities in the city which will create new sustainable residential areas and developments across the city where they don't exist currently. And my last slide highlights the city fringe, where much of the additional supply, so we have St John's, a number of you have seen the presentation of St John's, but actually on the right here, there is huge potential for new development, new communities across the city fringe area of Manchester. And we're working on a master plan for Collyhurst. We have a neighbourhood framework for New Cross just above Ancoats, which will be going to council this month. And of course, New Islington, Ancoats, Holt Town, Lower Medlock Valley, and obviously parts of Piccadilly Gateway. So we will be producing an annual business plan, which we will be able to share with you. And so you're clear which parts of the city we're developing and which business opportunities are coming forward first. So in summary, we are absolutely pro-growth. We are going to work at pace to deliver those numbers, which are hugely ambitious. We will do so that will create quality places, and we'll work with you and our investment funds to ensure that we have a unique partnership with both national government partners and local places. And we are looking to rewrite the book. We have to do things differently if we're going to achieve that pace, both in terms of delivery and actually in creating very high quality, well-managed places where people choose to live. So thank you very much.